Felt like the Avs just couldn't catch a break in this one, but honestly, I'm content with what the Avs looked like out there for the most part. Avs lose to the Tampa Bay Lightning 1-0. Obviously, with a 1-0 game, there's not going to be very many highlights, so I'll try and get through this one fairly quickly. The first shift of the first period actually looked like Tampa was going to be in control, but pretty much everything after that was all Avs. The Avs would get a power play 3 minutes into the game, and they would come awfully close to scoring, but all they could do is ring it off the post for their 7th bad post of the season. Maybe a bit of foreshadowing there that the Avs weren't going to get any breaks tonight. They would outshoot the Bolts 11-4 in the period and would do just about everything right except for putting the puck in the net legally. After a solid first half of the period for the Avs, they would take a penalty. They would kill it very easily, which surprised me a bit against a high-powered Bolts offense. Not only would the Avs kill it, but shortly after it expired, they would put a puck in the Bolts net. Avs gained possession of the puck and start a rush right as Jost is coming out of the penalty box, creating a 3-on-2 situation. McKinnon's just going to do a lot of the hefty lifting here, gaining the line. Remember this right here. Jost looks to be starting into the zone as McKinnon comes in. He just feeds Landy here, and Landy unleashes a bomb because he's just been hot like that. Upon further inspection, Tampa would challenge the play for offsides, and while it is awfully close, you can clearly see Jost's back skate clearly in the air here, and the puck not all the way across the blue line. It gets called back for offsides. Now, this was the correct call by the rules, so you can't blame the refs here. They were just doing their job as the rule is written. You have to put a little bit of fault on Jost here. He knows how the rules work. He knows he has to keep that back foot down until the puck is completely across. It was close, but Jost did lift that foot. But this rule is just dumb. At absolute worst, it should be the plane of the blue line going straight up that defines offsides. Someone has their leg lifted and it's still on the right side of the blue line shouldn't matter at all. Even if Jost was involved in that play, which really he wasn't, it should be a good goal in my opinion. It's a poorly written rule and it makes the coach's challenge silly. The good news is this doesn't seem to faze the Avs. They keep pushing and look very strong offensively in this period. While they didn't give up much to Tampa in the first, they did give up a couple of dangerous chances, and they would equal the post counter there for yet another good post for the Avs. At least we got that going for us for now. The Avs would end the period with a weak power play, but still, going up against one of the best teams in the league, you have to be very happy with that first. The second period was a weird one, and it was very sloppy for both teams, though more so the Avs. Early on in the second, Marco Dano would get into a fight, which was a thing, I guess. I don't really know. He had a ton of hits, 5 of them in this game, so he was playing with a lot of physicality, but I don't know, it was just kind of a weird fight. You would see Tampa kind of steadily putting their mark on the game, starting to get more and more control from the Avs. The Avs were getting a bit lucky though, as Tampa was missing a lot of their shots, meaning that the shot counters ended up being fairly low, Tampa outshooting the Avs just 8-6 in the second period. The second half of the second period would see the game open up quite a bit, which seemed to lean in Tampa's favor as they started generating more and more opportunities, and their sticks are so good. They are so good at winning puck battles and taking the pucks away from the Avs. That's just a level that the Avs haven't reached yet. Despite Tampa controlling play for most of the second, it still felt like the Avs were fully in this game. I don't think Tampa brought their A game really, maybe more of their B or even C game, but the Avs were right there with them. Problem being is, you don't get that many chances when you're the underdog, and the Avs failed to capitalize on them again at the end of the second period. They get a power play that they just don't do anything with. Tampa came out hungry at the start of the third. They really started stretching the ice, looking for those long breakout passes, and the Avs struggled to manage them. Combine that with the Avs continuing to look sloppy with their passing, especially in their own zone, and the Avs basically spend the first 5 minutes of the third just stuck in their own end. And then a penalty gets called on Tyson Barrie. Was it a soft call? Yeah, it was. But when you're stuck in your own end, you have to know a call is likely coming your way. It was Tampa's third power play of the game. Nothing. You know a team with a quality offense like that is gonna make it count. The Avs fail to clear a puck as it gets held in by Kucherov at the end of this power play. You're going to see Gabe Bourque coming up strong to challenge him, but Carl Soderberg, the other forward on the PK, is also on this near side and has to get back up high, so it's just natural for both of them to collapse. That leaves this far side of the ice wide open because of Gabe Bourque's choice to challenge here, so EJ is the player who's going to have to step up when the pass comes across. EJ makes an unusual decision here to go full YOLO for the pass and try and not let it get through instead of covering the man. He dives for this, which means he either has to get the puck on his stick and get it knocked away, or he's going to be completely out of the play and it's essentially a 5-on-3. He misses, that comes across. Now you have 4 players in on 3 against the Avs, really. The forwards are scrambling to cover back, so they don't really notice Kucherov covering in behind. Pass goes behind the forwards to Kucherov across. No way Varley can even really get across to this, and to make matters worse, he gets perfectly screened by Ian Cole, being the only man back with EJ out of the play, and there's just nothing he can do. Pretty brutal, man. You really wanted the Avs to stick with this one, and they had the goal called back earlier. You really felt like they had an opportunity to win this game, but then they get dunked on a power play like that. Now, the game wasn't over yet. The Avs would try and push back, and they would get some very good chances, including a partial breakaway from McKinnon that would end in nothing. So you were kind of looking for the Avs to get a call back the other way to see if they could get it done. While it came a little later than fans were hoping, it did eventually come as the Bolts would throw the puck over the glass in the D zone, and the Avs wouldn't manage to capitalize. And ultimately, the Avs can't get a puck into the net, and they fall 1-0. It was so close. There were so many tiny little things here for the Avs. If they don't get a weak call against them, maybe the Bolts don't score. If Joe's foot is down for a half second longer, their goal will count. So the Avs were right there. Things just weren't quite getting over the hump to go in their favor. And to a certain extent, that luck is absolutely earned. Tampa, again, one of the best teams in the league with a firepower offense, they are going to get some calls by pinning the Avs in their own zone, and those are deserved to an extent. The good news here is even when things aren't going the Avs' way, they were still completely in this game to the very end, and that's not something you could say about this team last year at all. It was a bit of a weird game. While I thought the top line was fairly solid, the depth was kind of a mixed bag. You had some real good offensive generation by players like Andrighetto and Kerfoot, but then you also had people who looked totally invisible, like Jost and Wilson. When you look at Tampa's roster, the depth battle is not one the Avs are supposed to win anyway, so it's not the end of the world, but you really want to see a little bit more consistency from the Avs there, especially during sections of the second and third period where the Avs really struggled to get anything going. Obviously, you never want to lose, but when you consider the opponent and the effort the Avs gave, this is a pretty decent one. A fantastic road trip gave the Avs a bit of a cushion to lose to a good team like this. Now it's right back on the horse. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. The Avs are back in action with Matt Duchene's return to the Pepsi Center up next, so that should be an interesting one. I'm Rudo3, and the regular season is already 12% over.